Hey everybody, welcome to Rock, Paper, Hand Grenades. I'm Matt Connerton, and to my right, rubbing his tummy, the Honorable Gary S. Hopper.
That's the only thing I really own, Matt.
Yeah, they say that. At the end of the day, all you really have is your tummy.
The IRS can take a lot of things, but so far they have not figured out a way to take this baby.
That's
I
right.
have earned every inch of that.
My grandfather used to say that. He used to say, the IRS, they can take it all except your tummy, and I didn't understand what he meant
That's
until
because
now.
you were young.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he had dementia.
Oh. Huh. What a coincidence. Anyway, our guest tonight is Kim Rice, who's a representative from
Hudson and
Pelham. And this is your first time around, and are you signed up again?
I am, yep. Glutton for punishment.
Apparently. Or is it the free food? The only reason I go back is the free food.
Do you know I never go to any of those?
No?
I don't.
Wow, then you really have no reason.
Do you even have a tummy?
No, she doesn't even have a tummy.
Yeah.
It's like, what?
There's a little one there, trust me.
Anyway, I wanted to start out with talking about there's, for people who don't know, the New York Daily News writer Gersh Kuntzman. That's what it says.
That is not a good
Where is
name.
Right there.
That is what
That
it
is
says.
his name.
There's no
I'm
reason
not-
to. Well, I think actually, Gary, it's probably pronounced Kuntzman, but I do like your
We'll
pronunciation.
go with your version.
Better. By the way, I hope you've all enjoyed the show because this will probably be our last episode. Thank you all for your support
That
over
is
the last 5 years.
exactly what it says.
I think it's Kuntzman, but
whatever.
But whatever. Yeah, you had no way of knowing.
I don't know. That wasn't deliberate. I can do stuff accent.
That's the greatest thing that's ever happened on this show.
Okay. Anyway, what was I doing? Okay. So anyway, he went out. He went to a gun place and shot an AR-15.
Yeah.
And he wrote down what happened. He says, the recoil bruised my shoulder. The brass shell casings disoriented me as they flew past my face. The smell of sulfur and destruction made me sick. The explosions, loud like a bomb, gave me temporary PSTD. For at least an hour after firing the gun, just a few times, I was anxious and irritable.
Wow.
So this
Really?
is some brutal stuff. AR-15 is brutal.
Is this what your grandson
No,
said?
no,
Or
this
is
is-
what
no.
the reporter said?
This is what the adult reporter said in the New York Daily News. Now, so today, this afternoon, I went outside with my 10-year-old grandson to shoot an AR-15 to see how brutal and horrifying the weapon really is. John, can you play the video? Okay, stop.
Huh?
Take your finger off the trigger. No, look at me. Was that really, really painful?
No!
Are you going to cry?
No!
Are you a sissy?
You're a wussy news reporter!
Okay, thanks, Shawnee.
Good for him.
Would have been even better if you got him to say the reporter's name.
Oh,
That would go viral.
Yeah, I should have. I didn't think of it. I actually didn't think. That's the first time I actually said that out loud. So I apologize if I offended somebody for that because that's probably not right. But anyway,
I'm thinking that this reporter probably had PTSD before he ever went
I
to
think
shoot
with a name like
anything.
that, yeah, that kid totally got told on. Absolutely,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
I don't know why he didn't change his name to John Kuntzman. Anyway, so that was wicked funny, especially the way I did it.
Yes.
So your buddy Trump, I say your buddy, not necessarily. I think you were a Cruz supporter, right?
I was actually a Carly supporter.
Carly supporter. I was Cruz.
Although I think we should all congratulate Trump on being right. It's a
Which
joke about
time?
his tweeting.
Oh.
No, I was joking about how he tweeted after the shooting. I appreciate everyone congratulating
Oh,
me
yeah.
for being right, and
Oh yeah, that's probably not tactful. But no, he actually is screwing up right now, and what he's doing, he has come out and said that he's looking into on national propaganda radio and every place else. They're saying that they're making the argument that anybody that is on the terror watch list should not be allowed to buy a firearm. Sounds logical. It really does sound logical. It's common sense legislation until you realize the actual ramifications of it. And the fact of the matter is, according to Mark Rubio, there's 700,000 people on that list.
Wow, I had no idea.
Most of them are not United States citizens, but
Right.
still, 750,000 people on the terrorist watch list.
Yeah.
To get on the watch list, all you really have to do is be reported as somebody who's suspicious, and then the FBI starts looking into it. And I talked to the police department in Goffstown, and they said, and they're pretty darn good people over there. So and what they do is, like, let's say you had somebody who was like casing a school. Well, they're driving back and forth in the school, and they don't even have any kids in the school, and stuff like that. They would start investigating first, and if there's information that led them to believe there might be more to it, they would call who is it, FBI or Homeland Security or somebody. Say, hey, you got to check this out. I don't know at what point that person would end up on the terrorist watch list. I don't know if it's just from that phone call that puts them on the list, and then they're taken off if they don't find anything, or if they have to find more evidence to actually be put on the list.
Yeah, because it does take us down a pretty scary road if you can now take away someone's Second Amendment rights just because they end up on a list.
Just because somebody
Just because
accused
they're
you.
accused.
Right,
No
right.
trial.
There's no trial.
No finding of
No due
guilt.
process, yeah.
You know, but you can take away someone's Second Amendment rights for that, and I can't agree with that.
Yeah.
And you know what's funny is, I'm sure they'll probably delete this off the internet, but the Huffington Post 2 years ago, probably for an entirely different reason, I would guess, did an article on what it takes to get on the terrorist watch list. And it was quite critical of it. So that's why I don't think they realize they have opposing views on their website right now.
Now,
Anyway,
did it also say the no-fly list? Is that
That's a separate
something
list,
that
but
they
that's part
wanted?
of.
Because, I mean, how many times has that been wrong? I can recall a
Sure.
story a couple of years ago where a family was trying to go on a trip, and it was something like their 4-year-old.
Oh, yeah, babies
was
end
on
up
the
on it.
list.
Ted
I
Kennedy
mean,
was on it
Well,
at
Yeah,
one
I
point.
mean, come on.
I don't know. I bet after that YouTube goes viral with my grandson, he's going to be on the list.
Probably, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Poor kid.
yeah.
He's got a bad grandfather is what the deal is.
You know, the shooter, Jen made the point the other night on my show that the shooter, I won't say his name, in Orlando, he was the most gun control compliant
Yeah.
mass shooter. You know, everything he did, he bought the gun legally, everything.
Listen,
So it's
If someone wants to do harm, they're going to find a way to do it.
right.
Okay? It
Right.
doesn't matter whether it's with a gun or a pressure cooker.
Right.
What are we going to outlaw everything?
Right.
And
Pretty
live in plastic bubbles? Come on.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
not
if
the
you're
answer.
living in a free society, there's always a way around the law to kill people in quantity if you have a mindset to do so.
Yep.
I was going to say have a heart, but I would say you lack one.
Right.
Okay, so here's some. This is from the paraphrasing from the Huffington Post article. How to get on the list? Reasonable, articulable suspicion.
And who makes this determination?
Exactly.
Yeah, 'cause those are some pretty ambiguous
What are,
terms.
yeah, what are those definitions, and who's making these decisions?
Right, exactly.
Yes, that is probably the exact same definition you would have for a police officer to come up and start questioning you about something
Yeah.
you're doing. They have reasonable and articulable suspicion that you're doing something wrong,
Mm-hmm.
so they go over and either arrest you or question you. Facebook post. After today, I got to be on the list, especially after I pronounce the guy's name. People who rat you out. Somebody doesn't like you. It's like the
Right.
IRS. People rat people out to the IRS all the time.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Because you are you, not because you're part of a terrorist group, but if you are similar to a terrorist or part of something similar to a terrorist group, will put you on the list. If a relative is on the list, that will put you on the list.
Yeah.
And this is the really weird one: is if you are in thing is you're in a category of, let's say, an ISIS type group in the United States would be on the list. Well, the fact of the matter is they can change what groups are on that list at any time. So it's not like a set in stone list. So they could add. Remember, I think we talked about this a few years ago. People who are considered domestic terrorists. Okay, a domestic terrorist years ago, I believe it was sent around. Different state police were told to look out for domestic terrorists. The definition of a domestic terrorist is somebody who has a Gazgan flag on their truck, NRA sticker on their truck, Christian symbols on their truck.
Oh boy.
Yeah, I know you're.
I am way up on the list now.
Yeah. All these things it would put you on a watch list for being a domestic terrorist. Former military were definitely on the list.
Wow.
So, yeah. They were the Justice Department was asking cops to keep an eye out on possible domestic terrorists, and the domestic terrorists were basically anybody who's conservative. And then we had to show the extent of how bad this can be. Remember, we had the IRS go after conservative groups. Okay, so now if you can deny somebody their Second Amendment rights by being on a watch list, do you think it's probable that the government will attack certain groups?
Absolutely. We
with
would
this
all
new
be called on, and the suspicion would be there.
Yes.
Someone
Very.
who does not like guns, my neighbor has a gun, I'm going to call, We're conservatives. I don't agree with their policy. We're going to call.
They're dangerous.
They are dangerous people.
So
Very slippery slope.
it's a
It
wicked,
really
and the
is.
fact that Trump has fallen for that, I know.
I have to wonder, though, I wonder if he's saying he's going to meet with them. I don't think it necessarily would mean that he's going to push that agenda. Maybe he just, let's face it, this is politics, folks. Maybe he's just appeasing a certain crowd
Well, I don't
and say,
believe anything he says.
I'm going
anyway.
to meet with so-and-so
Yeah.
to, and just to calm a certain group. This is the way they play this game. My
Yeah.
God, I've only been up there 2 years, and it took me about 6 months before I caught on.
Well, now I'm curious. What exactly did Trump say? Did he did he
He's-
comment on it at a rally or something?
no,
or?
I
'Cause this got by me.
Yeah, I'd have to. I could probably find out. You could probably read it more gooder than I can. Let's see.
Oh, you've got it right there. Or is it not coming up?
Okay. Trump just caved, which doesn't mean he caved. I will be meeting with the NRA who has endorsed me about, and then he's going to talk about with the
Who
NRA.
put that out? Who did that story? I'm always looking for the source.
Well,
Me too.
Well,
Yeah.
your sister posted it.
My sister did.
Yeah, Kimberly Morin.
Oh, then Kim knows.
She actually does. She's pretty
Yeah,
good.
Kim
But
knows.
no, I don't know. I don't know who's. It does. I can't. If I click on it.
Oh, maybe Kim wrote it.
No, this is.
Is it the Examiner?
No, it's Jane Cormier and Kim Morin shared it, but I can't tell because it won't load up. The connection here is not good enough. But I can't find out what the source of it is. But it sounds like what you're saying is basically he's agreed to meet with the NRA about the issue, at which point the NRA will say no. No, you'd have to be out of your mind to agree to this.
Well,
Right.
we could hope.
We would hope so. I mean,
I
there-
don't put anything past anyone anymore.
So anyway, I want to get that covered because that's current. How do you like being up in the House? You said it took 6 months to figure out how many people were full of crap.
Yeah, and the game,
And the game,
But I like it.
yeah.
I do enjoy it a lot. My husband says I come home a little rejuvenated afterwards.
Really?
Yeah.
I come home exhausted.
Well, I'm exhausted too, but I'm like really amped up to tell him about the day and what happened and you know the crap that was pulled over here
Yeah.
and the lie that he's hearing about this story, because I'm there firsthand to hear it, so I can
Right.
give him the the real story without all the twists and turns, because I don't need to slant anything a certain way. I'm just going to tell it like it is. And
Yeah.
What's the percentage
know.
of people there who are full of crap? What do you say?
I guess
pretty
it would
high.
depend on what day and
Yeah.
what bills are being heard
Yeah,
and
yeah.
What issues?
Yeah.
More than half? Less than half?
I think it goes in and it's in a scale.
Yeah.
You can't really say
Yeah.
because like she says on some issues you see people who are conservative voting the opposite way. And you go, what the hell are they thinking?
Yeah.
And it's just it kind of blows your mind, or they get up and support something that they don't believe in.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it blows your mind.
Yeah.
They've made some deal with the devil or something. But
Well, a lot of times, though, I'll listen to my constituents. I'll get emails. I put out on Facebook yesterday, asking my constituents to talk to me about this granite hammer bill. What would they like to see? Because I am very torn.
I am.
I am very torn.
The speaker called me this evening before I left for
Yeah,
here.
I haven't looked at my phone. I'm sure he didn't call me. But so I put it out there for my constituents. I've heard
Yeah.
from one person that, wanted me to vote against it.
Yeah.
And then, so I don't know. I'm going to listen to the argument tomorrow on the floor. See, I mean, there are certain people up there, I trust their words. Some that I think put their own spin on it. And I'll take it from there.
We
I mean,
have
I
a-
talked to my police chief.
We have a call.
Uh-oh.
Oh,
Uh-oh.
God, is it the speaker?
Welcome to Rock, Paper, Hand Grenades. Who's on the line?
Hey, it's Eddie. Hey, how you doing, guys?
What's
Hey,
up,
good.
buddy?
How are you?
Good. Hey, listen, I want to ask the three of you something. Operation Granite Hammer, right?
Yes.
It's kind of confusing, okay? Now, bear with me here. Because they tell you that we can't arrest our way out of the problem, right? Well, if that's the case, if we can't arrest our way out of the problem, then what do we need Operation Granite Hammer for, right?
Right.
So that's one thing. Also, they tell you, we got to go after these dealers, right? But all you three and I know that when they arrest dealers, it happens all the time. There'll be a sweep, right? Pick a town, Franklin, whatever, right? Manchester, Nashville, Rochester, okay?
Yeah.
Well, they'll show the 12 guys or whatever, right? They let them go the next day, low bail. They're back out on the street. They end up with a slap on the wrist. So I think your guest there, I'm just tuning in, I don't know her name, but she basically said she's torn on it. I find the whole damn thing confusing. And I'll think give someone else a chance. Maybe you can just chew those things over. All right, thanks. Bye.
All right,
Thank
Eddie.
you.
Thank you. I feel like
Wait. Eddie, this is Representative
Oh,
Kim
yes.
Rice.
Hi, Eddie.
Anyways, what's your...
My take on that is, and this is where my confusion lies also. In my opinion, they're treating this like it's an emergency bill for funding. Yet this is a grant program. How quickly are these departments going to get this money? And who's, and I guess the state commissioner is picking who gets the grant, the money, and all that. I don't know. And quite honestly, I think we're the ones saying we can't arrest our way out of this. I don't know
Right.
if the police department has actually said that yet.
No, I don't think they have, but
But also, the governor has her budget. She can move that money around. Why doesn't she just move $1.5 million to this if this is needed so badly? I mean, I just think it could be better spent on treatment.
absolutely. I'm with you on
You
that.
know,
Yeah.
I just think that, and even the chief of police in my town, I spoke to him about this, and he said, we need treatment.
Yeah.
We need beds. They, the police departments, the fire departments are becoming safe havens now, where people can go and say, I need help. And he
Right.
said, that's all great,
Where do
but
you
I'm
put 'em?
calling and can't
Right.
get a bed.
You need the resources, yeah.
And let me tell you, as a recovering alcoholic, had I not gotten a bed the day I called, I would probably still be out there.
Yeah.
You know, so I understand that urgency for the need for beds.
Right.
You know, and then they say we can arrest these people and get them into treatment. And again, I ask, where are you going to put them?
Yeah, no, it is absolutely the case that the biggest problem is where to put them. Not, I know that I think they're on next week. Holly from Hope for Recovery and Chris Blevins from Amber's Place.
Oh, cool.
I
Yeah.
believe they're coming on next week. Chris is awesome. Anyway, I believe we passed all those emergency funding bills at the beginning of the year to help with the opiate crisis. I believe Amber's Place, which is like basically a what do you call it, triage for heroin addiction. It's not really a place to stay.
It's a detox.
It's like, in other words, I need help now. They go up into Amber's Place, and there's a place that it can safely be without
Yes.
being on the street. That's Amber's Place, and I believe it was only a week or two ago that the governor promised Amber's Place $100,000. Okay, so that money was issued in January, or we okayed a bunch of money in January. They're finally getting off their duff and actually spending it.
Well, we okayed the money a long
Right.
time ago.
Yeah.
You know, but what is she doing? She's too busy being out in Washington
Oh, yeah.
raising money.
She doesn't care.
She
She's not
doesn't
here
care.
mentally
No.
anymore.
No.
We might be better off if she gets elected. Get her out of here.
Oh, well, let's not get crazy.
Get her out of New Hampshire. I'm not a fan of the governor.
No.
No.
But anyway, it took Chris at least, I don't know how many months that is to actually get funding.
Yeah.
I'm not even sure if Hope for Recovery's got any money. I'm not positive. We'll have to ask next week.
Yeah.
But as far as what we're doing tomorrow, because this is going to look bad for the Republicans if we don't do something tomorrow. So let me explain what we're doing. A few weeks ago, we voted down this bill, but this bill had a bunch of crap added to it. Okay?
Yeah.
And it had passed the House, but then, as bills do, it came back.
Originally, it had passed the House as just the granite hammer bill.
No, it actually...
It didn't have the retirement part put on it until after the committee of conference. It originally did pass the House, went to the Senate.
Okay.
The Senate did something, and then we went to the committee of conference.
Well, the way the speaker had said it today to me today was that was in there, but it went to the committee of conference. That's when because it added on something about the retirement.
Right.
Before it went there, in the House we had passed it with that retirement thing.
Oh, okay.
But after the fact, the people on retirement system, the police, the same people who are asking for the money, fire department and places like that, or probably different organizations that represent them, started tweaking out about the modification of the retirement system. And that's when the attacks started coming after the fact. And so technically in the House, if a bill goes through the House, is passed by the House, defeated by the House, what happens is somebody who is on the prevailing side of that vote gets to go up and ask for reconsideration. Then you vote on reconsideration on that bill. That's what happened. There was a vote for reconsideration and it lost by quite a bit.
Yeah.
If a bill has been voted down and then asked to reconsider and then voted down again, that bill is dead for the year.
Okay.
It's done.
Right.
Okay. So that's why I'm technically opposed to voting for a suspension of the rules tomorrow, because that bothers me. That's why I've told people I'm going to vote against suspension of the rules. After talking to the speaker, I'm not positive I'm going to. In that they have created a new bill with only that part, so it's not the same bill that we voted on
Right.
or against. So this new bill, House Bill 1000, that we're voting to suspend the rules to work on. So technically, I don't think that's.
It's my understanding is it's the original bill before the retirement was
okay.
added on. Because I happen to have it here because don't think I wasn't going over it all day long today at work because I'm just so freaked out.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
But you know, so yeah, my understanding is this is pretty much basically the original bill that
Okay.
came through for Granite Hammer without the retirement in it.
Yeah.
You know, I guess we're going to have to see. I have to listen to these arguments.
And-
I just don't want to suspend the rules and then
Yeah.
every other bill that failed in the House comes up. People want to bring it back up again,
Right.
but the Speaker has
Yeah.
assured me that we would have to suspend the rules for each time.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I did ask him that.
You see, the thing is, to suspend the rules to allow this in, I think we need a 3/5 or
Two-thirds.
two-thirds majority of the House to suspend the rules to do this.
Mm-hmm.
So it's probably not going to happen.
Does that ever happen?
Yeah.
Does it? Yeah.
Yeah,
Routinely, or-
we suspend the rules on a reasonably regular basis.
okay.
Like for instance, if you're already past the deadline on when you can introduce legislation,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
suspend the rule because somebody comes in with legislation that's like timely or something happened and we need to do something to fix something.
Right.
Okay.
And so we
Kind of
suspend
like
the
an emergency.
Okay.
so you
Yeah.
suspend the rules to allow the bill to come in.
Oh.
And
okay.
then you vote on it, even though it's not gone through committee, because a bill has to go through committee.
Okay.
This one obviously, technically, kind of has, but not with the same bill number.
Okay.
So you're basically saying, okay, we're throwing the rules out the window for a brief minute
Yeah.
just to deal with this.
Okay.
But you need a supermajority to get that done.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So that's what's happening tomorrow, and I am still on the fence.
But is it the way it's written? I mean, is it so that grant money would go specifically toward the law enforcement aspect? It would have to.
I believe so.
Okay.
Yes, and it cannot be granted for the purchase of evidence or for confidential funds.
What does that
That's
mean?
I would
This-
assume that you cannot use it to purchase drugs, so to speak, in a drug sting. I would think is what it
okay.
sounds like to
Gotcha.
me.
Yeah. Huh.
Or for confidential funds. So I guess if you had a confidential informant, you cannot use that
okay.
money towards that.
Okay.
But you know, Representative Byrd also put up a good thing the other day about, you know, the police departments need this money, yet in Somersworth they did that sting to catch the people texting and driving. Now, couldn't that time and money been better spent?
Yes.
Stinging somebody else.
Especially in Somersworth and Rochester area.
Yeah,
Come on.
Yeah.
You know?
Absolutely.
If you're going to sting
So
people, let's do
that's-
it, make it count.
Right.
I mean,
I like that.
because yeah. I mean, at what point are we going to start holding these people accountable, not just giving them a blank checkbook
Right.
to use the taxpayer money willy-nilly? You know what I mean? I don't know. I'm a real big person on accountability and
Yeah.
transparency.
Oh, yeah.
I want to know where my money's going.
I think focusing on treatment makes more sense. I think if you know, this sentiment, I tend to agree that we can't arrest our way out of the problem. Every
Right.
time you arrest a drug dealer, you're really, in my view, creating a job opportunity for somebody else. And I was talking to Amanda Bolden. She told me about a study, I think they did in a couple cities, where they noticed that every time they were able to round up a bunch of drug dealers and incarcerate them at once, immediately the murder rate went up temporarily in that city, because now you've created job
Really?
opportunities for
Yes.
whoever else wants to be the next drug kingpin, and they're shooting each other in the streets.
Yeah,
You know.
that's still Amanda Bolton really wants to legalize everything.
Right.
So her viewpoint is pretty skewed in my book.
Mm.
But as far as I'm concerned, the way to deal with this is waterboard them. You arrest the little SOBs, you waterboard them, then you find out exactly who they get their drugs from, then you go and shoot that person or waterboard them. It's a little bit of a kind of...
What if you shoot them while they're being waterboarded? Like they're
in
freaking
the-
out because they think they're drowning, and then you go over and you just start shooting them.
In the foot. You have to shoot. They got to be able to talk when they're done.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah, come on, buddy.
I got a little carried
Come on,
away
you gotta,
there.
Yeah, you got to think about these
I would be
things.
terrible at torturing
So-
people.
Yeah,
And not
yeah.
only that, we're putting these people into the jails where we can't even keep drugs out of the jails.
That's true. Yeah.
Waterboard them
how
too. I
are
don't
we
care. I
helping-
waterboard everyone.
Wow.
So how are we helping these
radical.
people? You know, is my thought. How are we helping them?
Yeah, the people, the user, I agree totally with the people that are addicted. I worked with one guy, a couple guys that have had heroin addictions, and it is so brutal.
I couldn't imagine because it is such a physical addiction, you know, more so than I think anything, that when you don't use it for just a minuscule amount of time, you are in just excruciating pain, I guess. And I could never imagine. I could never imagine. And
You know
even
what's-
now, with the fentanyl out there, you could be a first-time user and die.
Well, I actually got fentanyl 3 weeks ago.
Oh, for your ribs?
Yeah, I have a mental condition.
We already knew that, though.
I have a 17-year-old brain inside of an almost 60-year-old body.
Yes, yes.
And I tried driving my dirt bike up onto the back of my truck, and I flipped over the edge, and I fractured 7 ribs.
Yeah, must know my husband. He talks about it all the time.
Fracturing his ribs?
Oh no, taking a motorbike and going up over the hills like
Ah.
he's still 17.
So he's not too sharp either.
Well, you know, but I love him.
Oh. My wife says that.
Oh, that's nice.
And she doesn't even know her husband.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Ooh, she's
So- Anyway,
scandalous.
but anyway, so I went, I was at a Concord hospital for like 12 hours.
Oh.
And she said, the doctor said I had to lay down for a CAT scan.
Oh, good luck with that.
I said, no, it's not happening. It's not going. I still can't sleep, but I can't lay down.
Ugh.
I'm still in, I graduated from the computer chair, which is just like this, to the recliner, which is just slightly more than that.
Yeah. Oh.
But anyway, so she said, you got to lay down. I said, nope.
Yeah.
Nope, not unless you're going to duct tape me down there and listen to me scream like, crazy.
Right.
And so she shot me up with fentanyl, which was still painful to do it, but it was doable. And that is such a weird drug because within an hour, my head starts clearing.
Yeah.
On Facebook, I said it's like the Chinese food of drugs. You eat
Right,
it,
you're
you
hungry
eat,
again.
an hour later.
Yeah.
So it's got to be brutal to be addicted to. I can't
Oh, I
imagine.
could never
yeah.
imagine.
I'm glad that was not around when I was a teenager. I'll tell you
Yeah.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
me too.
Not that I ever did anything bad.
No.
No, I'm not saying
No,
that.
no,
I was
no.
pretty angelic. I used to go around Halo. I was great. I was
Yeah,
great,
well.
great kid.
Yeah.
So Kim,
Yes.
so what is your now that you've been there? Let's get back to you.
Okay.
What do you come away with this first year? What are the things you learned and stuff like that?
The things I learned is that you need to reach across the aisle. If you have any hope of getting anything passed, you have to reach across the aisle. That sometimes reaching across the aisle just won't work because I'm not willing. I'll give a little, but I feel like we are always giving everything and getting nothing. And it's very frustrating for me. I find it frustrating that I thought we had a majority and there were bills that should have flown through there with no opposition and we couldn't get them through. I found that I want to be the chair of my committee so I can get stuff done.
Yeah.
That's what I found.
Yes, yes. She's in Child and Family, and that's the that committee has been horrid ever since.
Isn't that the committee Kyle Tasker was on?
No,
Oh,
he was
God,
on criminal
yes,
justice.
it is. No, he
Oh
was on
yeah, before he
ours.
got booted. Yeah, but he
I
was.
bet you have some stories.
He was.
I actually preferred not to talk to him. I couldn't sit next to him. He smelled like pot so bad.
We're not supposed to.
And I'm not a prude. You know what I mean?
You
But
can't admit that, by the way.
I don't know nothing.
You don't know nothing. Good.
I
That's
don't know
better.
nothing.
I found that out. Yeah, no, Kyle Tasker was on criminal justice, and all he would do was attack the police.
Yeah.
which is kind of ironic and kind of funny.
Yeah.
And so this year, when it came up, you know how you write down what committee you want to belong to, and he wrote down criminal justice again, and the new chairman said,
No kidding.
no way, I don't want that jerk on here.
Yeah, so they gave him to children
Just
and
like
family
stuck him
law.
on child and family law.
Was he disruptive?
No.
Or what? No.
No,
He
was
just didn't care, right?
He didn't
just,
care.
He
Yeah.
was just high and
You
sat
know,
there.
I
and
went
zoned.
in there all gung ho,
Yeah.
like this is my chance, because that's the whole reason I ran is to get family court reform.
Yeah.
And so when I got in there, I was all gung ho. I was going to change the world.
Yes!
And then I got that slap in the face and said, all right, now I have to learn how to play the game.
Yeah.
Right.
You have to, pick your words carefully,
Wicked carefully.
because God forbid you say you're there fighting for parents' rights,
Nope.
because it's all about the children.
Nope. There's actually people make that mistake. They get up. It's like Warren Groen. I want to have him on the show.
I'd like to meet him.
He's one of the nicest people
He
in the
really
house.
is a
Is
very
he?
nice
He
man.
is really nice. But then he got up a month ago and he starts talking about, what was it? Basically quoting from the Bible,
Yes.
which was true. He didn't say anything wrong, but the problem is once you do that, you're labeling yourself as X.
Yeah.
And
And people will get up and leave. You'll notice certain speakers will get up to speak, and the hall of reps empties out.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Now, what did you think about the Democrats voting as a block 90% of the time? Not, no, I shouldn't
Why,
say
I'm
90%.
not. I am in no way surprised. No way surprised.
Yeah,
at
but I mean,
all.
if for somebody who's never been there before, you come up there. Republicans never vote as a block.
No.
Well, no, I shouldn't say never. Sometimes on the budget we get close, but that's about it, right?
Yeah. But no, it doesn't surprise
Really?
me. It didn't surprise me. What surprised me was that the Republicans didn't. That's
Really?
what
Yeah.
surprised me. You
Oh yeah,
know?
we're so split up.
It's terrible. I mean, I thought our whole concept was smaller government, be fiscally responsible,
Yeah.
and local control. I just want the government out of my crap.
Right.
Yeah.
I can't touch one thing in my house that the government doesn't have its hands into, and that includes my children.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's very frustrating to me that, I mean, I guess it's a good thing no one ever did anything like this with my kids, because I'm a crazy woman when it comes to my kids. First of all, you don't tell me.
Wait. Kim,
Yeah.
you took a job that requires countless hours every week for $100 a year. I think saying you're crazy is kind of
Everybody already knows that.
pretty much, yeah.
That's what I found most surprising, was that the Republicans didn't stay together more.
You see why they don't though, because some of the Republicans are not Republicans.
I know.
You have a huge, because I know when I was first elected, I was shocked. I mean, totally stunned by how liberal Democrats really were.
It's frightening.
Because I always thought, I'm thinking of like John F. Kennedy, and
Right.
I knew
John F. Kennedy today would be a Republican.
Oh, easily.
No doubt in my mind.
But I just, I think of Democrats as being, pro-union. I get that, and they're pro this, and they're. But I had no idea they were so radical left. It's like ridiculous.
They would have hated me because I almost ran. I really considered it this time, and I was going to run as a Dem, but
You can do it because you are independent enough to not, because they pressure people.
yeah.
They go into caucus. They say, hey, you're a Democrat. We need you to do this.
Yeah.
You need to be here for us. And they really. I mean, I know some very smart, independent type Democrats. They still vote with as
Yeah.
a. It's weird.
See, and that's one
Yeah.
thing I won't do. I don't vote how leadership tells me to vote. I'm up there for my constituents. I'm
Yeah.
not up there for leadership. I'm not up there for the fire department. God bless them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I am up there for the people. And that was another reason I ran, was because I felt like people were not being represented. You know, I feel like they get up there and they forget why they went there.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yep.
and I don't want to be one of those people. Even when there was a time period, I was the interim vice chair for my committee, and so I would be at the meetings of the chairs and vice chairs, and
You realize
yeah,
how
that's great, but I'm not going to vote that way. And then the speaker nominated me for the Robert J. Thompson Eastern Leadership Academy. I almost fell over.
What's that? That sounds interesting.
That is it's a 3-day conference like thing of legislatures from the eastern part of the country in Philadelphia at the end of August.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
really?
yeah.
Huh.
And
What's the criteria for being in there?
well, I'm not quite sure because this came to me out of the blue, and then his secretary said, you know, he's going to write you a letter of recommendation. Right? Imagine my shock and awe. And it was a very nice letter. And I just had to do like my bio. And trust me, I'm no one special. I attend bar, I substitute teach. You
Right.
know? I haven't been to college. But I'm a pretty smart girl and I have common sense. So I was, you know, floored about that. But I'd be in this meeting thinking, oh no, I'm not voting for that.
Yeah.
You know, you can tell me, but I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
Right.
You know? So, and then he made me committee whip. And I'm a freshman.
Huh. That's
Who
pretty
knew?
cool. That is
I'm
actually
a
very
little
cool.
shocked.
Yeah.
I really, my shock is still, I think, shock.
I asked him today if I was vice chair of judiciary.
And he said,
He said, "See, because I was curious, okay?
right,
Because I posted that on Facebook.
I saw that.
Yeah.
Because Rob Rowe, our chairman,
Right.
became county commissioner until he gets for now until he gets if he gets elected to the position.
Yeah.
But he's a temporary county commissioner to fill out Carol Holden's term. So he can't be that and a state representative. So he had to resign.
Right.
So there is no chairman of judiciary. So it stands to reason that Joe Hagan is now the chairman. As far as seniority goes, I am the next person in line, so therefore I'm theoretically vice chairman.
Oh, okay.
So I thought it would be cool if I was actually vice chairman and then voted against reconsideration tomorrow and then lost my chairmanship before I actually knew I had it.
Yeah.
I think that would be kind of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At least I think that should I get reelected and should the speaker be the speaker again, at least he'll know what he gets with me.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
right.
Not that I'm the senior person on that committee.
Is Carolyn Gargas running again?
Yes.
Who's that?
She would be the
She is-
chair of Children and Family Law.
Yeah, she
Yeah.
is. She has been up there forever, and she's been up there since I remember her voting record back in 2000.
Yeah.
I wrote. I never knew how to use Adobe. No, Microsoft Excel.
Yeah, neither do I.
Well, I figured it out,
Good.
and I made a chart because it blew my mind that we are trying to pass what I thought were just regular conservative legislation, just common sense, like you said, common sense conservative bills. We're just going, not even close.
I mean, and it's frustrating because we have people come in and testify about the problems with the family court system, and all I ever hear from them is the same thing. Not the people that testify, but certain members of the committee is, well, we don't hear the other side. And I say to them, but these people are offering you up their whole case. They're
Yeah.
telling you, go, they have nothing to hide. Go down there and, look into this.
Well, we
Granted, we only make $100 a year, but this is our job.
Right. Well, the thing is we've never. You're in reference to. We've had. I think we had Dan Itza on talking about that, and probably Paul Ingerton.
From when
talk-
we had redress.
You're talking about redress of grievances, and the problem was that the judiciary circles the wagon and defends these people,
Yes.
and the judiciary has far too much sway in the New Hampshire legislature.
Absolutely.
Because-
they think that what they say is gospel.
Right.
And to me, I'm thinking, can't they just man up and admit there's a problem
No, they can't.
and look around to fix it? I will give credit to Ed Kelly and to Sharon Carson for coming to the New Hampshire Family Court Forum and actually listening, for actually asking questions of the people that were testifying there, and then for keeping the door open for us to meet at a later date to go over some of the,
What
same findings we found and see how we can fix them.
What is sort of the crux of the problem? Because I've been hearing about it mostly on this show. I've been hearing about these
Yeah,
problems
you
for
never
years
hear
with the
about it
family
on
court,
regular
but-
TV.
On what?
Regular TV.
Right. Yeah.
You're not going to hear about it. Go
Yeah.
ahead.
There's a lot of problems, A lot of people think that Title IV defunding, that it encourages judges to give custody to one parent and assign child support because the state will then get Title IV defunding. My argument with that
Wait,
though,
why
is
don't
you
you-
cannot prove intent.
Okay,
You
explain
know
what
what I mean?
Yeah.
explain what Title I
Title IV defunding is it's almost like an incentive from the federal government that for every child support dollar that is collected by the state, they get so much in federal dollars, which gives these departments more money. It's the same with DCYF. Now I try to look at it as not so much a criminal point as that I think that the judges are overwhelmed. We have marital masters, we have referees who hear these cases, and judges just sign off on them.
Yeah, they don't.
They don't actually. A lot of judges don't even actually hear the case.
Really? Okay.
And you're telling me some of these cases have been going on 6-7 years.
Wow.
Now when it gets assigned to a new case, are you telling me that judge is sitting down and looking back over all these years? False allegations fly in the family court system because you can go in, make a false allegation against someone, their life is destroyed, there's no proof. You have no proof. It's just, he hit me on the arm and I got a bruise. And that's all you have to say. You don't even have to have a picture of the bruise.
Wow. Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're not offering up any proof.
Right.
And it's such a big money-making racket.
Always follow the money. Yep.
Judges, lawyers, they're all in that brotherhood. Okay? So you can't get an aggressive attorney because they don't want to tick off the judge because
Right.
they have to bring other clients in front of that judge.
Good point. Yep.
Do you know what I'm
Yep.
saying?
Yeah.
So there's a lot going on in it. If we start with shared parenting, which I think is a no-brainer and can't get that passed to save our lives.
Right.
What is that?
Shared parenting is a bill where each parent gets the presumption of 50-50
Okay.
for time.
Yeah.
How often do we hear, oh, if only the dad was involved in the life, maybe this
Yep.
kid wouldn't be hooked on heroin.
All the
Well,
time.
maybe if the courts would quit pushing them out of their lives, making them visitors to their children 4 days a month, really,
Yeah.
Yeah.
then maybe we wouldn't have this issue. We have dads that are fighting for their kids. And listen, it's not just dads. There's moms too.
Right.
I don't want to make it, just tends to be a majority of men.
Right.
But I lost my train of thought. But if we, left these fathers involved in their lives, these guys are fighting tooth and nail for their kids.
Right.
And they're being pushed to the wayside. They're being bankrupted. All the money spent on these cases could probably put their kid through college.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well,
Seriously.
the thing
you know?
is there's a fundamental problem with the whole situation, and my shirt looks white in that. Doesn't it?
A little bit, maybe.
Not that I'm easily distracted.
No, not at all.
There are some lawyers who, and I've talked to people, have friends who, they say they're getting a divorce, and so yeah, but my wife and I, we agree that it's time to break up, and we're not going to fight over anything. But once the lawyers get involved, there's no money in agreeing to anything.
Right.
There's $0 in that.
Right.
Okay,
Yeah.
you got to say start, and it's illegal for them to do that, but that doesn't mean they don't do it or aren't careful about how they do it.
Of course.
Because there's just $0 in not causing hate and discontent.
Right.
And as soon as they do that, it's like you said, you end up with a father who has to work his butt off just to see his kids 4 days out of the month.
And also figure that, if the father doesn't have a decent place for the child to go, a room. Now, mind you, how much of his income is already gone
Right.
from child support? What if there was alimony? Not to mention if they tack on arrearages from the day it started,
Right.
when you don't even know how much you're supposed to be paying,
Yeah,
okay? And
yeah.
God
Well, they don't
forbid
call
you
it
can't
rearages
prove
for
it.
nothing.
Right.
Right.
But so, this all comes into play. Now this dad also has to provide food, a roof, and a room for the child he sees 4 days a month. It becomes insane.
Yeah.
People will withhold their child. I don't know why anyone, and I don't want to just say women, why anyone thinks that by paying child support means you get to see your kid. If you don't pay, you don't. What price are we putting on our children's heads? Come
That's
on.
exactly what it is, too.
Come on.
Yeah.
And it should be encouraged when dads want to be in their
Absolutely.
children's life, because one of the things, and this is something you've talked a lot about, Gary, is, part of the problem in this country is the dissolution of the family, because you have so many dads,
Yeah.
knock somebody up and take off. So when you've got a father who actually does want to be involved and does want to raise the kid, that should be encouraged. And it sounds like the court's just making that more difficult. They're discouraging that.
If you only knew how frightened I am for my son to ever get married and have children.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's something that moms live for, but I've actually said to my husband, I wonder if there's a way we can do some sort of a prenup to ensure that he gets his children at least
Right.
50% of the time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No matter what.
Yeah.
Well, not no matter what.
Yeah, I get it,
Listen,
yeah.
things can happen, okay?
Yeah.
But also, in my ride along, we went to a call. It was a verbal domestic. Now, can I tell you, this guy didn't lay a hand on her. They got into a verbal argument. He took her keys and left. Now, of course, she's crying. She's upset. And the kids are in there. And, of course, it's an emotional time. But do you know that the police department brought her in all these pamphlets?
Oh, yeah.
Here, in case you're battered. Here, oh, let's do this checklist to find out if you're a battered woman. So I asked the cop when I got in the car, I said, and what do you do for the men? Do you just throw them in jail and to hell with them? Are they getting help in the jail if there's an anger problem? Was their dad around?
Mm-hmm.
Do you
Right.
know what I mean?
Yep.
Right.
Really, there's a lot to look into, and when people come in and testify in front of the committee, a lot of them gets heated, they get loud, they get angry because they've been pushed to that point.
Yeah.
They say, "Oh, that person's crazy." They weren't when all this started.
Right.
They
Right.
weren't.
Right.
I think
You
in
know?
the macro too, we live in such a PC culture now where there's this thing where if a woman makes an accusation, any kind of accusation against a man, it's almost the most un-PC thing you can do to even question
Exactly.
whether question why is she saying this? Did this really happen? Is she exaggerating? Because then you're a victim shamer or something.
Right,
And-
right.
Well, I think one thing we need to do is reinstate the penalties for perjury.
Absolutely.
If somebody
Absolutely.
perjures themselves,
And they need
accuse
to
their
follow through with it, though.
Yep.
I mean, we have all kinds of laws. It seems to me
I'm
they pick
just saying.
and choose
Right.
which ones they want to follow.
Right.
But I've said this bunch of times on the show, but I want to close with this. 1960, Daniel Patrick Moynihan did a study to find out what was happening with black families in the inner city. They thought it was poverty and racism. When he started, he admitted that's what he assumed he was going to find out. What he found out was the biggest problem in those communities was at that time, 25% of the kids were brought up in broken homes.
Yeah.
Okay? Then they introduced the war on poverty, which punished women if their husband came back home or if they
Yeah.
had a husband. Okay?
Yeah.
So they would get funding if there was no husband involved.
Right.
Then you introduced in 1970s, Reagan's one of the things Reagan did regret was signing a bill for no-fault divorce. That spread across the country. By the year 1980, by the 80s, 50% of the people, we had a 50% divorce rate. By the year 2000 in Washington, D.C., 75% of the children of color were being raised in broken or single-parent homes. So when we see Black Lives Matter, that is not true. Black dads matter.
That's right. Absolutely. You know, it's frustrating. This has been a fight I've done for a long time.
Yep.
You know, and
I'm glad to see you're in it for the long haul, because a lot of people get up and do exactly what you did and say, "Wow, this is just BS. I'm out of here."
oh no, I will find a way.
Good.
I will find a way.
And I love
That
having
is
you on the
my-
Child and Family Committee, because if we could just duplicate you, because they have the
Oh, the 3D printers?
no, not 3D.
Am I going to be cloned? What are you talking about?
Cloning.
Liz, I think my husband will tell you one of me is enough.
We didn't have to all live in the same spot. Hey, we got to take. Thank you very much, Kim.
Thanks so much.
Yes, thank you, Kim.
I hope you get reelected so you can keep antagonizing that you're chairman. And see you guys next week.
Bye, everybody.
Thanks.